or very little effort, but have a maximum impact.
All right. So on the website, I saw you spoke about it started with a dream, and probably the dream was from an individual. And how do you now put everyone into that same dream so that you can share? You have you can share the dream so that you can eventually get to achieving your goals.
Sure. Well, it started on an LSD trip, and now we're giving free LSD tablets to everybody to be part of that dream. I'm just kidding here, okay, just for the record. You show way too much enthusiasm for that statement.
She was dream out of the dream.
I want a dream.
I believe I can fly. We lose half of our staff through, jumping off a rooftop. No, just. We don't have a corporate culture. I can't tell you, listen, if you don't fit, and this is our model, and this is what we're going to do. My suspicion is deep down inside, most people are very good.
Yeah.
They're good at pulsating hard and wants to do something good. They just haven't found the avenue through which to do it, the right channel.
Right channel.
So all I try to offer them is a way of saying, well, listen, here is the kind of projects that we're doing. Which one do you think you can really add value towards the bigger picture of improving the state of primary healthcare? Remember, our customers are businesses, but their customers are people who are in the, I hate the term, bottom of a pyramid.
Yes.
In the people who can't afford medical aid. Those are our customers' customers. So the impact we have is felt immediately on the ground. Our typical clients, for example, Imperial Group, is building 90 containerized primary healthcare clinics with a medicine room and so forth. They come to the nurse and say, nurse, where are you from? And you say, Deep Slough. Would you like to go back to your friends and family and community? She'll probably say yes. Okay, you know what? We're going to give you a container. As your own business, as a clinic, we're going to set it up in cement with security. And you're going to offer primary healthcare services in the community, which normally would have had to spend 200 Rand to go to town and spend 2 days waiting at Baragwana. So your entrepreneurship, primary healthcare, our software as a control mechanism, some suppliers that do it at cost, and there you've got already a solution to, it's not a perfect solution, but it's a better than nothing solution.
Better than nothing, especially when we talk about townships. That's who.
And you know what, we've seen it now. These are patients who are paying cash for medical consultation. About 150 Rand gives them all the medicines, the consultation, and a bit of others for 150 Rand. And the best part is, a clinic needs about 180 patients to break even. They're averaging 250 to 400 a month now.
That's awesome.
And after 5 years, a nurse gets a clinic on the balance sheet.
Oh.
Entrepreneurship is when you stimulate ownership, not as employees.
Yes, when you give people, because when you make a person like they're part of the dream, and you give it to them and say run with it, they run it fast.
Absolutely. And private ownership is tap into people's selfishness in a positive way. Don't ever do something for the greater good. That's the nice picture.
Yeah.
Tap into somebody's selfishness. Oh, you want to own your own business and do good. The own your own business part usually comes first before doing good part.
Yeah.
Having said that, I generalize. There's some wonderful people out there who will kill themselves to do good first, if it helps.
Yes. And the people that you work with, do you look at the traits? Do you look at the technical background? Do you look at the creativity, the entrepreneurial? What is it that you look for when you?
I look for, in my ideal world, I would like not to employ a single person. What are you good at? What's your skill or technical or professional background?
Okay, professionally, I'm a geologist.
Okay.
So give me any rock, I'll tell you the name.
Okay, it's a good foundation to start with. Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So I would say to you, okay, that's a bit of a stretch for me now.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know what? A lot of the clinics that we put out there are in newfound territories, which have we don't know if the foundations are right, if the structures hold, if it's porous material, or whether what's the sloping angle, or what's a lot of a question that you might answer. Say, you know what, is there any chance on weekends, once a month, you can come with us and we visit 3 clinics and you do a survey of each of one of those clinics pro bono to begin with.
Yeah.
Maybe we find a business model later. So I always try to see if there's a way to bring talent on board without ever employing them, but giving them the opportunity to set up their own little business within the space. If that makes any sense.
Yes, yes, it does. All right.
Kelly, I wouldn't have a job for, so it's hopeless.
So is that part of your whole like innovative strategy? Ultimately, it's like it's not an employment thing, but it's empowering others.
Well, again, I tap into my own selfishness. Employment means PAYE, UIF. It means babysitting, sick leave. It's the motivational culture and all that. If, however, I'm contracting with you, well, then your performance is measured on a month-to-month basis. So you've got a fire under your backside first. So it's a selfishness. I'm satisfying my own needs, but at the same time, we know that in South Africa, 67% of every single person employed in South Africa works for small and medium-sized enterprises with less than 50 people. So we know that the impact of entrepreneurship is amazing. That's why I love entrepreneurship. That's why I don't want employees, because I've seen it myself. Maybe you're different, but when you're an employee, you become lazy. You start looking at the clock, the benefits, and so forth. When you work towards building your own future, you work twice as much. And it's cheaper to start with.
Yeah, well, that works. So these people that are entrepreneurs, you contract to do a few things for you. Do you ever get to take them to maybe show them what it is that you do as well? Sit them down and say, this is like some kind of an induction into the healthcare business, or you just tap onto what they're good at?
Oh no, they have to see the bigger picture. Like when you signed up for this insane course with that weird lecturer called Ita. This is recording, right?
Yes.
Good. Hi. You signed up for a bigger picture. You signed up for the qualification, the professional enhancement, understanding, expanding your skill sets. That's great, the bigger picture. But now you've got to work through each different module. And some module you're better on, some worse on. All working towards the bigger. So yes, absolutely, you've got to understand how it fits together. You know that if this was a never-ending exercise of module after module after weekend for the next 10 years, you would probably have a tenth of your motivation. But because you know where you're going,
there's a final picture.
Correct.
And competition in the business. How much competition do you have? Because it looks like you brought a lot of innovation and you started a lot of things in this business. So who are your competitors, and how do you differentiate your products, your services to?
So I got to be careful about answering very specifically to us versus a generic question related to what you're asking.
Yeah. We'll answer from as Hello Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's what we're trying to get.
Yeah, like how is competition in the business?
So remember, I discovered the sector by accident.
Yeah.
Until you've met me or did a bit of Googling, how much did you know about primary healthcare?
Just a bit.
Okay. And yet, I just explained to you that the whole pyramid of healthcare is such where at the top you've got hospitals, specialists and doctors, and that's the whole government is moving away from that towards this monster called primary healthcare. If I told you there's between 12 and 18,000 clinics in South Africa in primary healthcare, if I told you there's probably between 700,000 and 1.2 million clinics in Africa, if I told you it's probably the biggest sector that you've never heard of, yet it's all around us. So the competitors aren't there yet because the margins aren't huge, necessarily depending on what you're doing. So it doesn't attract yet to competition. The fragmentation nature of the sector is such that the big corporates, I haven't gotten into it yet, because you have to reinvent the wheel almost every second clinic.
Yeah.
So that helps us to stay under the radar screen, In the same way Pastel, the software, the accounting software, stayed under the radar screen, I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Very quietly. They went for the small and mid-sized enterprises. And SAP didn't go for those. And today, who's the biggest accounting software in South Africa? Pastel. It's very easy to move from here upwards in the value chain. Very difficult when you've got the cost structures to move downwards. In part, we couldn't move upwards anyway because we don't have those kind of cash. So it's actually a good position to be in.
Yeah, well, I mean, primarily, obviously, we're going to have to start at the bottom. All right, Kelly, I don't know if you...
I do. I saw something yesterday, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something about innovating, like large companies act like small companies, so they drive innovation within their organizations and they try and they test new things, and so they were sort of talking about eating your own lunch and learning how to make a better dinner. So do you guys do that, or is it still like everything you do is innovative, or are you still looking backwards and trying to fix processes or tweak processes or find new avenues kind of thing?
I think it's a balance. You know, you've got to find things that have worked well, and sometimes you just don't have manpower to spend 6 months doing R&D to improve a process. And so you want to constantly adapt it and improve it incrementally. Now, some come from the school of thought, let's do something radical. But the reality that those who sit on money, who make financial decisions, don't like radicalness.
Yeah.
They like proven and tested. So you kind of have to sneak in the radicalness a couple of months after you've done the proven and tested. And you can do that in very sneaky little ways that have a big impact. So you find that in terms of companies, I think the way of the future is to break your company apart. A bit like what I was saying before. Create little entrepreneurial businesses which you can get rid of if they don't perform or if they don't innovate. As a big holding company, it's almost impossible to innovate. The product mix might be the way you can innovate. But the reality is, on a micro level, it's a headache and a half to manage all these different parts, and everybody's motivated by something different. Some people are very good at fine-tuning products, some people are very good at integrating in others. So I think it depends what your role in the organization is. My view is you should never have people 100% in the organization, have it outsourced.
Okay.
That answers it.
Yes, it does.
I have another question. Oh, sorry.
You can...
Is that whole thing of open innovation? Or is that about like sharing your ideas with people? So like if you've just thought of something amazing this morning, you're not going to sit on it and keep it secret. You'll come and you'll tell us and get us to discuss it, to think about it and tell our friends. Or am
I'm not sure what open innovation means, but sharing and so I come from a school that ideas are worth zero. So if you have a brilliant idea and you're trying to be secretive about it, go for it. I think the better approach is to tell the world, because the reality is as a startup or a growing company, every idea is somewhere already. Somebody can do it better, and frankly, if you go to market and somebody discovers you, if they have a big wallet, they can copy you within 6 months. So your trick is really find a client, find a need, address that need. And we are in the lucky position, we've got the clients, we are on the client side. So we've got the clients, we've got the problems, we're looking for solutions constantly. And ideally solutions that can integrate with other solutions. And a lot of entrepreneurs coming up in the ranks are thinking very much into let's design a solution and later find the clients. I say no, find the other way around. When you're making so much profits, that's when you can start becoming revolutionary and come up with products that nobody has asked you for, and then see and develop the demand out of that. But I wouldn't. I always suggest focus on a niche, make sure it can talk to other things, and then bring it in. So if you talk to other people, you might find, you know what, I'm actually working on a client that needs your solution and my solution. Or you work on that one, yours does this. Well, let me make sure that my part talks to your part, and then we go together to the client and give him or her an absolutely invincible solution for all the headaches.
Goes back to creating entrepreneurs. what you're good at, what you're good at. Let's combine and let's just.
And the reality is, there's only